Hello, today we're going to learn about calculating probability. The goal for this virtual lesson for today is to correctly calculate the probability fraction to represent the probability of an outcome. Now, you would remember from the last video lesson that you watched that we can express probability using qualitative descriptions. If we look at this scale that we have here, we say that there is zero probability for an event if it's impossible to happen. Okay, and we can say that there's a certainty that an event will happen if the probability is 1 or if it will surely happen. For example, if you roll a dice and you say what's the probability of getting a number less than 7, since a dice just goes from 1 to 6, the numbers go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you know that it's always going to be less than 7. So that's a certain possibility. And if there's an even chance, 50-50 chance that an event will happen, we say that that's in the middle and there's an even chance. We also have something in between even and certain, which is likely, or somewhere in between impossible and even, which is unlikely. However, these descriptors of probability are just qualitative. They don't really give you a numerical value to describe the probability. And so we need to use what we call as the probability fraction, or solve for the probability fraction. And it is given by the formula listed here or written here. Okay, it says the probability of an outcome is P sub event, or P of an event, P of our specific chance or specific result, okay, is equal to the number of ways the outcome can happen divided by the total number of possible outcomes. Okay, again, it's the number of ways the outcome can happen divided by the total number of possible outcomes. This might be easier if we look at an example. So let's look at an example here for number 7. Okay, the following cards are placed in a box. So you have 6 cards here numbered 1 to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. A card is selected at random. Now find the probability that the number of the card is 3. Okay, so to calculate that, we say that we're looking for the probability of getting a 3. So we say P of 3, and we look at the number of chances that 3 will come out. And since there's just one card that has 3 on it, we say that's 1 out of the total number of possibilities or possible outcomes, which is 6, because you have 6 cards in total. So 1 over 6. And since that's the simplest form, we say that the probability of getting a 3 is 1 out of 6. Now take note that probabilities can also be expressed as fractions, a percentage, or a decimal. So in this case, if we express it as a decimal, just express it to the nearest tenth. So it's going to be 0.17 chance. Or if we make it into a fraction or a percentage, that's 16. For 3 significant figures, we can say that 16.7% chance of happening. So it usually is expressed as a percentage. Can be a fraction or a decimal, since we can easily convert from percentage or fraction to decimal and vice versa. Okay, but most of the time I will just ask you to express it as a simplest form of a fraction. Let's look at B. So what's the probability that we get an odd number? So we're looking for P, we can just say odd. Okay, and let's look at the number of possible odd number outcomes. And we see that there are 3. 1, 3, and 5 are all odd numbers, and so we say 3 out of the total 6 chances we will get an odd number. So that's 3 over 6, or simplest form of that is 1/2. So our final answer is 1/2. So you have so that's an even chance. Okay, So you might, there's a 50% chance, so that's also 50%, right? There's a 50% chance that you'll get an odd number or an even number. Let's look at the next example. This one involves a spinner. A fair spinner has 8 equal sections. The sections are labeled A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, so you can see there's more than one A and more than one B. The arrow is spun. Which is the most likely letter that the arrow will land on? So obviously, the most likely outcome will be the one that has the most chance of getting the arrow or the arrow landing on it. And so you see, look for the section, the letter that appears the most. Okay, and we know that that's the letter A. Okay, we're not saying that it's going to be certain that it will be A, but we know that it has higher probability of landing on an A because A is written more than the other letters. What is the probability that the arrow lands on B? Okay, so now we'll use the formula. So P of B, okay, and we look at how many times B appeared on the spinner, and that's going to be twice. So that's 2 out of the total possible outcomes, which is 8. Okay, so there are 8 sections that the arrow may land on, and so that's going to be 2 out of 2 over 8, or 1/4. Okay, so you get a 25% chance that the arrow will land on a B. Okay, then C, what is the probability that the arrow lands on an A? Similar step, you do the same way. So you have 3 A's there, so 3 out of 8. You can't simplify that any further, so that's 3 out of 8, or 3 over 8 for your chances. All right. Okay. Now I'll show you this one, and I want you to try to work it out. Okay. So Thomas has 12 cards, each with a letter on it. Okay. He picks a card at random, so the letter spells Corbett Mats, which is where this paper, I got this paper from. Okay. So he picks a card at random. Write down the probability that the chosen card is the letter H, T, not the letter E, the letter B, or the letter T, okay, or it's a vowel. Okay, so I'll give you time. You're feel free to pause this video, and then I'll write down the answers when you're done. Again, please feel free to pause the video anytime you want to stop it, so you can write down notes. Make sure that you're writing down notes and you're dating your notebook correctly, so you have notes to revise on when you need one. All right, okay, so let's look at letter A. Write down the probability that the chosen card is H. So there are 12 letters all in all here, and there's just one H. Okay, so P of H will be 1 out of 12 chances. Okay, and the letter T. The letter T appears 3 times. So 3 out of 12. And so 3 out of 12 is, simplified form is 1/4. Okay. Now, this one is not the letter E. Okay. So you have to look at the possibility of getting not the letter E. That means all the other letters aside from E, which is all 11 letters. So there's just one E there. So 11 out of 12. You can't simplify that any further. The next one is you get the letter B or the letter T. Okay, and so there's one B there plus the 3 T, so that's gonna be, we could just write B T. And so that's 4 chances of getting a B or a T divided by 12. If you simplify that, that's 1/3. That's when you get a vowel. Okay, so what's the chance or the probability of getting a vowel? Now the vowel obviously will be A, E, I, O, and U. Okay, and if we look at it, how many vowels do we have here? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we say that P, we can just say P of vowel, is going to be 3 out of 12. And so that's going to be 1/4 as well. Okay, and so remember to use the formula when you're asked for the probability in terms of number or the probability fraction. Okay, and the formula is given to you, okay, as the probability of an outcome is equal to the number of ways the outcome can happen, you specific outcome you're looking at, divided by the total number of possible outcomes. We can say that we achieve our goal for this video. Please make sure you work on the Maths Watch or My iMaths task assigned to you for the day. Do not wait until the end or the last minute to work on them. Don't hesitate to send an email if you have a question. Thank you.